Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to another episode of the Community Live Stream. My name is Chuck Tomasi. I am the ServiceNow guy with the cool bow tie with an episode of the live stream. What did I say? Yes, that's it. It's Thursday, October 4th, 2018, and this is the show where I go through the community information right behind me at community.servicenow.com and give you not only answers, but insights and experimentation, a journey of discovery that you can take to your organization and be a more effective ServiceNow developer and administrator so that you get the thought process and not just the answer. That's what I'm here for today. This is completely unscripted. This is completely unknown. I don't know what I'm going to be doing today. Sometimes I have some ideas that I can follow up on. Sometimes it's all up to you in the community to bring me the content, and then I do my best to answer them. My specialty is in custom applications, integrations, and the platform in general. So if you see me skipping over some of the questions, it's because I don't have an expertise there. Sometimes I will subscribe and I will follow along with the discussion to learn. This is a bi-directional thing, almost like a bi-directional integration. I receive information, I provide information. How's that for a ServiceNow analogy? Good morning, Carolyn Ramsport, checking in. Good morning, Oswin. Good to see both of you. That must mean that... Let me do the get in the corner thing and bring up the YouTube link. That must mean that, nope, not yet. Where is it? Where's the sad trombone? No YouTube alert yet. These people are just watching because they know at 1 p.m. UTC that I go live. Almost to the second. I try to time that as close to possible to the top of the hour. I am a punctual person. I start on time, I end on time, and that's how your meeting should run as well. I don't want to waste your time. I want to be respectful. So in that vein, let us go on. Subscribe to that channel, by the way, on YouTube, and you will get alerts when YouTube wants to do alerts. We've been having some problems with YouTube alerts this week. I don't know what's going on. It's not me, it's them. Maybe we'll get one in a couple of minutes. Sometimes they're late, sometimes they're never. Who knows? There's some magic that goes on in there. Shane, good morning. You got your alert? I have not got mine yet. Okay, well, I will trust you on that one. Carol says, I got one, but I'm here without it. She's probably got a calendar appointment that says, go here, go to YouTube. It's on. Check it out. So if you find something useful in these videos, we do this on Twitch as well. I forgot to hit the right key there. We do this on Twitch at twitch.tv/NOWCommunity. If you find something in there that you like, something you find helpful, don't forget to click the like button so that others can see that there was something informative, something helpful. And then I will post the links that we cover, the code that we write, and the video back to the community. So we have a video on the community, about the community, on the community. Something like that. And then I'll share it on LinkedIn. So, yes, I have a ServiceNow app to manage the community, about the community, and we won't go down into that. It gets all knotted up in itself, but it certainly does make for interesting topics when we have that. So thank you for joining us this morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are. This is the last episode that I will be doing for a couple of weeks. I will be going to Now Forum. We'll get to that in Sydney in just a minute. The other events, let's keep going. We've got Twitch, we've got the community, as I mentioned, community.servicenow.com. If you've got something more than just a general question, a general comment about the weather, where you're from, checking in, saying hi. Love to give you shout outs on YouTube and Twitch when you do that. It makes me know that there's people there. There's an interactive, hey, Chuck, you missed a curly brace, or it looks like there's an error on line 12, or you spelled active wrong. Certainly give me that feedback live in the chat. And if there's something more you've got a question about ServiceNow, we did some of this yesterday with imports and exports. I got a little off script, didn't want to do that, but they were general questions, and be sure to post those into the community so that others can find them, others can learn from them, others can participate in them, and you'll get more out of it having more people than just me and a few of our friends in the live stream providing that information to you. So community.servicenow.com is where you want to go. Be sure you post in the right forum There's subsections to the community. So if you're posting on something on reporting and performance analytics, be sure to put it in that area. If it's in the developer section, you're probably not reaching the right audience. And what else? Provide context. If it's a developer question, hey, can I set this doing this? Or I'm having a problem doing this. Let us know what you're trying to do. Provide some context around that. What is the underlying requirement? And that will be much more valuable, because we wouldn't want you heading down a technical solution that isn't right for the requirement that you've got. You may think that and I've done this 100 times or more, many, many more. I ask my colleagues, hey, how can I do X? And sooner or later, somebody comes back and says, Chuck, what are you really trying to do here? What's the story? What's the use case? And as soon as I explain it, they'll say, there's already a script include that does that for you. And really? I didn't know that. And we all learn something, and I get a better solution out of it. So if you provide that information, perhaps some of us in the community can also encourage you to a more effective solution rather than one you think you might know. It happens to everybody. Don't worry about it. It's a great thing when we all learn and we all explore and we all grow. There's nothing wrong with that. I love it. That's why I like this community, and that's why I love this platform. Is there's always something new to learn, isn't there? More Steve, good to see you. Looking forward to seeing you at Now Forum in London. Let's get on with the developer portal. Developer.servicenow.com is where you can get a free personal developer instance running our latest release, London, or if you like, Kingston, or what came before that? HIJK. Jakarta? Istanbul. Istanbul is gone. Jakarta, Kingston, London. I don't even know my alphabet this morning. It's that early. Yeah. Some people go to the gym. I write service portal widgets at 5 a.m. That's the way we wake up. Exercise my brain. We won't say anything about what's happening to the rest of my body. We'll work on that later, right? So that's a little insight to that. Developer.servicenow.com. Free personal developer instance, learning plans, APIs, meetups, and of course, let me get rid of the subtitle and go to the meetups page. We've got a number of meetups this week, number of several next week, and coming up in the future. I look forward to seeing many of you at the Melbourne meetup next week. That's 1 week from today. Oh my gosh. Wow, it's the 4th today, it's the 11th in a week. That is going to go by very, very fast because I'm not going to have a Sunday. I'm going to leave Saturday night and arrive Monday morning in Sydney. So I have no Sunday. I'll have 364 days this week. But I'll have some really, really, really long days to make up for it as I come back. The Munich Meetup is also going to be is something that I'm looking forward to. So hope to see you there. If you are in Munich on the 15th of October, there's also one being planned in DC that I'll be at. Of course, there's many others. Go over to meetup.com, and I will keep you informed when and where I will be available. And hopefully, I will get to your neck of the woods soon. If there isn't one in your neck of the woods, that's an interesting expression, isn't it? Woods don't have any necks. Just thought of that. Oh, the places your mind goes at 6 a.m. If there isn't one in your area, please reach out to us. We'd love to start one where you live and get the developers together, grow that community, help everybody learn and share and grow and explore and discuss. I've got several ideas that we can come with. I like launching new chapters too, so if there's an excuse for me to get there to help launch a new chapter for you, oh yeah, the old bow tie can get on the road. We'll see how that goes. Meetup.com/pro/ServiceNow Dev Program is where you want to go for that. So keep on encouraging your colleagues, encouraging your coworkers, encouraging people in your network to join up there. We also have our next Tech Now is right after I get back. Building your first app with ServiceNow. This is a no-code, low-code thing, and I encourage you, even if you've been using ServiceNow for a while, to watch this. You might learn something. You might be able to even contribute things. It'd be very interesting to get some of the experts to have that Q&A session online, much like we do here. It may feel like it's sort of unidirectional, but it is definitely not. Good morning, Chris McClendon. Good to see you there. The If you've got other people in your organization that you want to get on board, those no-coders, those process owners, the line of business people that are writing Excel spreadsheets to run their processes, give them a taste of what this is. And they can also go to developer.servicenow.com and get themselves a free personal developer instance and start building some of these things, explore the power that is this single platform that across the organization. One aspect that I thought of yesterday while I was reviewing some slides is ServiceNow. If you the more applications you get on ServiceNow, the less training you have to do. Think about it. If every application has a different UI, your training goes up. So by putting applications on very bespoke platforms, whether they're full stack applications that you write or applications you purchase or whatever it is, every time the formula or the process or the UI changes, it makes it harder to train and cross-train people, bring onboarding. By having the same interface, everybody knows, oh, hey, the short description field, I've seen that before. The number's always in the upper left-hand corner. Yep. It makes it an easier transition to adopt new applications. So I'm getting ahead of myself. That's on the 25th. I look forward to seeing you there in 2.5 weeks, more or less. Or 23rd. I said 25th. I'm in the wrong month. Tuesday the 23rd. Yes, that's the 23rd because I get back on the 19th. Hopefully my jet lag will be gone by that time. 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Any code that I write today will be in this GitHub repository, and I do have something that I want to show you that I want to mention. Don't know if we'll get a chance to get to it. This is one of those extra topics. I'm sure we will. But I will put that there and the link in the community and the link in the YouTube description after this all gets posted and processed and updated. We'll have the link to today's code. So we've got a little client script, got a little server code, got a little HTML, doing a service portal widget that I was tinkering with this morning. I mentioned service portal widgets at 5 a.m. I want to show you what I've got here. So let's get on with the rest of the content at community.servicenow.com. Thank you once again for joining me. I know a number of you, I'm still looking for my alert. I still have no alert, but apparently someone has assigned me a new task. Wonderful. I'll take a look at that in about an hour. I'm going to do a quick refresh of the screen if I didn't already do that. If I did, I apologize for the extra delay. And go to the unreplied section, see what's new, what's interesting this morning. getMyGroups function is giving sysID rather than the group name. It's supposed to. What do you want to do? What are you trying to do? Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing good. I'm doing terrific. Couldn't be better. I wrote a before business rule to insert the group name of logged in user who submitted the form. So all records which belong to the logged in user group. Code of the business rule is given below. Group names is getMyGroups. No, group names returns an array of groups. And it says group name is group names. When I'm checking the system log, I can only see the sysID. How to retrieve the name of the group rather than the sysID. I tried this with GSInfo. Group names get display value. So let's go take a look at that real quick. I'm going to log into my personal developer instance over here that I got free from developer.servicenow.com. Here, I should ring the bell every time I say that. And let's go to scripts background. It's one of my favorites in here. And I say var, I don't know, answer. I can't think of any good variable names today. getMyGroups. And I don't know, I think I'm part of some groups. getMyGroups, which is in a global business rule, which I don't encourage, but this is very old stuff. gs.info answer. Run script. getMyGroups is not defined. Did I spell it wrong? getMyGroups. Let's go to global. It's probably the reason why. Run. And it gives an array of 2 sysids. That is correct. That is exactly what it's supposed to do. Who wrote this? It was Sharma. Okay. I'm just going to write hi because I can't write that handle. If you like and you participate in the community, be sure to set your display name because right now it does handles, and handles are a little hard to say. Hi, it's a 0304. That's what getMyGroups is supposed to do. It returns an array of sysids and is commonly used in filters. If you want an array of names, you can write your own version of the same script. And getMyGroups is actually down here. I'm going to find that. SSRU, System Definition, Business Rules. And it is Incident Functions, if I remember right. There it is, Incident Functions. And inside of Incident Functions, we have the advanced section where the script is held. And I can find, is it username? Ah, it's not in here. It's somewhere else. Where is it? Okay, let's get script contains getMyGroups. Someone's going to shout it out. Command-Shift-F shows up with London. It does, I found that it doesn't always work though. Mine is more Command-Option-F. Groups, banners, SNC template, group qualifier, SNC. I want function getMyGroups. Let's do that instead. Function getMyGroups. Run groups banners. Really? It's in there? getMyGroups is GS to getMyGroups. So it's a method of getUser. And if I go to the developer portal and say Glide System, let's do this. getUser. getUser should be found in the API section. Training API, scoped equivalent, GS getUser, method getUser. Hopefully that's the right one. Why does it continually do version mismatch? My personal developer instance is on London, but the doc site insists on starting out with Kingston every time. Eventually it catches up. So getUser is here. Am I in Glide System? I am in Glide System. And am I in the right getUser? Get initials, get session, getUser. Where are all the sub methods that we've got in here? It returns an object. That's not very fun. So let's see if we can write this for them real quick. It would be something like, go to scripts background. We'll do, let's write this in an editor. Function get group names, get my group names. And we're going to go to the sysuser GR member table. Var sysuser GR member, sugarum, equals new glide record sys user GR member. That's the many-to-many table that says you are a member of this table, and I want that dot add query where the user field is me. Get user ID, gs.getUserID tells me that's me. And dot query that while we need someplace to store our answer. If our answer equals an array of nothing. And while we have answers, sugar.next, we will stop scrolling. Answer.push. What are we going to push in there? That dot group dot get display value. That should be about it. And then we'll return it. Return answer. Let's try it out. You'll need to call it from somewhere. So let's call gs.info, get my group names, and see if it works. It says network and service desk. That's exactly right. Thank you. So let's put that in a little code block for them. JavaScript, boom, done. Make it small, click OK, make it big. I'm going to give that thing a mnemonic sooner or later. Somebody's probably already answered this. Yes, no, just me. Yay! Hooray for the bell. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Group banner has it, I think. Yeah, you are right. I thought it was in a different function. I don't know why. There are a number of them that are in incident functions. Lubricate the old vocal cords this morning. It says Command-Shift-F shows up with London. Yes, I'm on London, Chris, and it says Command-Shift-F, and if I hit Command-Shift-F, it does not put my cursor in there. However, what was it? Control-Option-F does. I don't believe it's this plugin that's doing that, the Chrome extension. Because when Craig stepped to the keyboard shortcuts on our Tech Now a few episodes ago, it worked for him. And there were some other ones to help this collapse. I thought it was Control-Option-F puts it there. Control-Option-C? No, I don't remember. One of them allows you to do this little collapse thing here. And there was another one for global search. I can't remember my keyboard shortcuts for those offhand. It's the ones you use often. I think the best way to learn keyboard shortcuts is teach yourself a new shortcut a day, use it a few times, and then it'll stick. But that text doesn't show up for me. Yeah, again, I think it might be my Chrome extension. We can take a look. This is something that I got from the Chrome extension store. It's written by one of our customers, partners. Arun Kui has written it. You can find out more. Keeps it up to date. He's been doing a wonderful job at it. And if I go to more tools, extensions, I am going to disable this, turn it off, and let's find out what happens. One of the things that I do like about it, let's refresh my browser. One of the things I do like, yeah, it doesn't show up. It is part of that extension. So he's put that in there. One of the things I enjoy is when you double click the, let me turn that back on. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? More tools, extensions. Turn it on. Refresh. Is the ability to quickly get the query and see what it is. I can double click on the breadcrumbs. That's where that comes from. Otherwise, if you say, oh, copy query, it's copied into the clipboard, but I don't see it. There's nothing. I have to go to an editor, paste it in, or someplace else, which isn't a big deal, but it's the little things that can save you a lot of time when they add up. Let's keep going. I need a loading dialog for portal catalog requests. Let's go to unreplied. Email subject as undeliverable. This is interesting. It's in the IT service management. Hi, in my email logs, sys_email table, if I search for in subject as undeliverable, there are about thousands of emails. Wow. It is overpopulating my email box. Can anyone help me? Why is this issue occurring for incidents and catalog tasks? The type of emails is received or received ignored, and state is ignored. The error string watermark target table SC task does not match any inbound action table setting to ignored state. Can you help me? Oh, by the way, @mentions don't work in this software yet, so it's only dumb luck that I found this. So if you're thinking that's a great way to say, hey, help Pradeep, help Brad, not so much anymore. So the watermark table, so first thing to check, the error indicates that something is sending a message and there's no watermark. have you tested out your inbound actions with a new message, i.e. no watermark, and see the results? Normally, it should create a new incident, catalog, request, etc. Okay, based on how your inbound action rules are set up. I suspect there's no new, what is it, new or create? Inbound email actions. It is create incident is called action type, record action, stop processing, new and create incident, when to run, type new. No record with the type new to create a new record. And it's trying to match any existing watermarks and not finding one. The other question is, what is the source of all these messages? Is it people or is it a system? So, lots of things you could check out there. Inbound actions are processed through, as I mentioned, the inbound actions. So you send an email. Email is a form of integration. If somebody sends an email and it has no watermark, it's supposed to, by default, this is an out-of-the-box rule, depends on how much you've modified your system, it's supposed to read that and say, I don't know where this came from. Now, the watermark is on the bottom of a message. Let me get to System Mailbox and see if there's anything in my outbox. I don't think I have mail configured on this. Or sent. Try that. For all. On the bottom of the message, here's the content of the message, but I can also preview it. On the bottom of the message, there's this little ref here. You've probably seen this if you use ServiceNow before. The ref is what we call a watermark. And you can configure the format, the content, the layout of this. But by default, as of, I think it was Jakarta or Kingston, it looks a lot like this. MSG is that it's a message. And the idea is this is a unique identifier for this message. And when you reply to the email message, keep the watermark on there. ServiceNow can then take in that information, parse out the watermark, and say, oh, I know I sent this on this date and it's associated with this incident record or this catalog task or this whatever, and match those up. This is a unique identifier. Without this, it's very difficult, especially if you're sending mail between two ServiceNow systems, which many of our customers are now starting to do. We've got people that are, say, at Verizon sending messages to people at GE. And if they both have the same watermark, what we've done is we've added on the second half to make it a unique reference. And you can configure this to be anywhere from 2 to 26 characters. There's a property that defines how long that thing is. But that's how we keep it unique, because we were running into people that were saying, oh, it's message 0000011 on my system. That corresponds to this particular incident. But when I send it out of my system and into yours, this 000000011 is actually a change task on your system. Oh, that would be bad if I'm updating the wrong record. So it would be a false positive instead of going, I don't know what this is. Then it will create a new record, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a little bit about watermarks and email messages. They're applied to outbound messages and used for replies. And if you send a fresh new message saying, hey, let's go to dev20465 at servicenow.com and say hello, it will create an incident because it goes, you have no watermark. I can't match this against an existing record based on the subject or any other information in here. Therefore, I'm going to create you a new one based on the email inbound action rules that I've got. Let's see. Good morning from Bangalore. Hello, Bangalore. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. We'll have to check on that, check it out. My dev is on London, but just kind of catching up on the chat here. There's an email reference in Docs, says Chris. Let's go look. Do you remember where it was? Let's pick London. Email reference. Let's just start with email. Email setup. Nice thing I like about this. The site is scheduled for small content update on Thursday, October 4th between the hours of 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Pacific. All right. Morning. Docs is going to be possibly down for maintenance. Notifications. Notification release notes. Upgrade to London. Domain separation. Basic email setup. Mailboxes. Inbound email actions. This one? Ooh, that is kind of nice. Send. Email account. Inbound. Cool. Even gives you the almost SMTP and POP references too. That's a nice document. Thanks, Chris. Look forward to it. I don't know if I hit the ding on that one for the inbound actions. We were talking for a while. It is 1/2 the hour. Time flies when you're having fun. We are having fun, right? I have a reply. Let's check the inbox. Keep the conversation going. Don't want to put these people off too long. Update a glide record using Service Portal. You know what? This is going to drag me into a discussion that I wasn't quite ready to have. Oh, hey, here we go. I'm glad it was resolved. So this started out this morning. Somebody said, look, I've got this code. I'm going to bring that up in its own separate tab so it's easier to read. We're not reading it in the inbox. It says, hi all, I'm trying to update a record from Service Portal. And they were doing a very simple thing. He said, this works fine from Script's background, but these 4 lines of code do not work in my Service Portal widget in the server code. So I said, first thing I learned about Service Portal is doing this whole dot process thing where you say gr.active equals true or gr.state equals 6 is not a good idea. Service Portal is dealing with very primitive data types, and even though you may say gr.short description equals text string, it's a different beast when you say data.description equals gr.short description. This is an object, gr.close code. This is an object, gr.close notes. This is an object. Not only do you get the value, but you get methods and you get lots of other properties that are behind that make that field work as a field. It's not just a straight integer or a straight string or any of that information. So getters and setters are where I went first. And I said, have you tried rewriting this using a getter and setter? Let me see if I can do show all replies in here. There it is, show all replies. So I said, did you try this? Because I found that getters and setters work much better. And in fact, when I was writing my thing this morning, I went to Service Portal. Actually, let's go to Service Portal configuration. And made myself a little widget. Let's go check that out. I called it rec test, just for lack of anything better. And I will show you how I built that up in just a second. Started with the HTML. See if I can make that just a wee bit bigger. Started with the HTML and I created 2 buttons. Gave them a name. One I called open and one I called closed. Now the name is important, and the NG model is even more important. Name is, of course, if you've written HTML, most inputs or things will have a name and or ID field. The NG model is what binds it to my data model so that I can keep track of it. And NG click is the AngularJS way of saying, I want something to happen when you click this button. What do I want to happen? I want to populate a variable I'm calling data.op and do a c.submit. I think I could also have done c.data.op. So don't quote me on any of this. This may be a little off in terms of best practices, but it does in fact work. Now, take a look at the client script. When I do a c.submit function, it simply calls c.server.update. That's how the client script can say, I'm updating this form. That's a form submit. Easy to do. The server script, on the other hand, is a little more complex. Starts out, it says, first, did I receive any input? Is this from a submit, or am I doing the initial form load? If it's the initial form load, it jumps down here and says, you know what, I don't have any input. I'm just using that as a debug statement. I'd probably get rid of that if I were making a real thing. If I did get an input, then I'm going to go get a record from the item table. I statically coded this just so I could watch it in real time, what was happening, and extract out what is the action. What was that data.op that I put in there into one of those two buttons? It either said open or closed, and I do that with a toString. I want to make sure that whatever I'm using in JavaScript is a string, is an integer with a parse int, I have the actual data. If I just said switch input.op here, it would go, okay, yeah, now what? Because that's not going to switch very well. Switch requires a string or an integer, and I don't have that yet, so I need to use the toString. Have to be very careful. Originally, I had written this as itemgr.code equals something. I have a choice list, I have a text field, and I have a checkbox. Whoop! Not sure where that went, but that was handy. I don't need that screen. I need this one. So in my CLS table, I added a couple of fields to my record so that I could watch this happen. It's currently inactive. It says thank you, and it says delivered. I have my package is ready to pick up through delivered. I just hard-coded a couple of choices in here so that I could see it changing. That's if it gets an input. So the three are really working nicely together. I've got my buttons being clicked here, triggering the client script. The client script calls the server function and passes the values that way. So if I look at that, I need to make that a little smaller so I get my preview back. My preview window. I have two buttons. First time it loads, it says no input, which is exactly what I would expect. I didn't do anything, and it's currently in a closed state. So if I click open, go back over here, it's tweaked these three fields. I can see it's active, come and get it, it's ready to pick up. Okay? That's using toString, using getters and setters. In this case, setters more than getters. If I were to get the information and display that or send it back to the client script, let me put that away. If I want to use that and say something like data.number equals item gr dot. Now you would think I'll just do this. No, no, and even more no. Okay, this won't work. As I mentioned, item gr.number is an object, and I can't display an object in HTML. Well, I probably could if I knew what to dot walk to, but that's not what I want. I want just the number. Better way to do it, you go, well, fine, Chuck, just put a toString on there. I don't like that because now I'm hard coding that number to the number. Could work for you. I prefer get display value or data.number value, data.number value. You could do item gr.get value number, if I could spell it right. Okay, that's another option. Those two do equivalently the same thing. It gets the value of that field. One, if you're doing a choice list, they're two different things. Okay, keep that in mind. If you're doing a choice list, one is the value, one is the label. Get display value will get you the label. So if somebody's using a different language or you have multiple, the value is 3 and the label says closed, you're going to get two different things. So know which one is which and which is appropriate in which situation. Get value and get display value are not always the same thing. For string fields, yeah, pretty much. We'll leave it at that. Okay, that's a generalization, but that's kind of the idea. So get value and get display value are used very, very commonly in service portal server-side scripts. Just stay away from just the dot walk thing. The other nice thing I absolutely love about get value is you can then make an array. So for example, if you were going to you can use variables in your field names. I can say var fields equals an array of number, short description, etc. I'll spell description because, interestingly enough, short description is a short field, but it's got a longer field name. Okay, and then I could put those into var equals item gr.getValue field sub 0, for example. I can use variables in there instead of the hard-coded names. Can't do that with the dot method. Okay, very impractical. So this gives you the ability to say, pass these 5 fields and loop through them. So I love getValue for that reason. I love getValue because it takes you away from all of the nonsense of, do I have a string, do I have an object, do I have a lot of times, a lot of my debugging has been spent of what type of variable is this anyway? And if it comes up in a debug statement, it says object. I know I probably have an issue with a switch statement or an if comparator or something. So that's my widget. I will save that off to my editor as soon as I'm done here. Don't want to make you watch the boring sideline stuff. So bottom line of this, getters and setters, more often than not, will keep you from errors. That, however, was not the situation for this particular issue. Although I'm happy to have encouraged them in the right direction. They said, no, I'm getting a data policy exception. I said, the data policy is saying resolution code is mandatory. And I said, well, you're already providing that, because if I go to the incident table and I made sure that I said incident, right? You are using the incident table? He said, yeah, I'm using the incident table. I said, when I look at the incident table, here's another case of label not matching the field name. You're probably already aware of this one because you've dealt with incident for a while. Under the resolution information, I've got a resolution code. It says resolution code. Right-click on it, and it says close underscore code. Once upon a time, that was called the closure code. Now it's called the resolution code because a lot of people use the proper ITIL process where you resolve something before you close it. So we relabeled it, but we didn't rename the underlying field. That would have been a problem for existing customers. You like that wristband? It's kind of see-through. It's very bright green. I got it last night, and whenever it gets on screen, I can see through. It's really bright green. It's not white. So close code is the field name. They're providing the close code for this. And I said, that's odd. It's something about the data policy. Check and make sure that the data policy is still valid. Make sure it's accurate. Try disabling it and see if you can save that record. Oddly enough, this is the part I still don't understand. Even though they marked this correct, there's no follow-up on here. There is a follow-up. Says, I figured it out. Data policy is written on the field is restricting us to update the record. Tried invoking the same script by impersonating the user who submitted the record, and it worked without issue. Impersonation is another great one. I like that one. Didn't think of that, but not always are you the person who's doing this. There may be a gs.getUserID in there that's comparing me, Chuck Tomasi, with whoever opened the call, and it's mandatory, and I can't speak to what that data policy is actually doing. Data policies, if you're not familiar, are very similar to UI policies. UI policies run on the client side. Very handy for making things mandatory, hidden, or visible. You can write a condition that says, when state is resolved, make resolution code mandatory. The issue with UI policies is they're on the client side, and it's not very difficult to write some client-side code to say, turn that mandatory flag off. I'm going to submit this without a resolution code. Or make that field not read-only. I want to edit it. Okay. UI policies have an inherent security flaw because they are client-side. Data policies are run on the server side. Same type of technology where you set a condition and then you set some actions based on that condition. Codeless, could use code if you want, but they're codeless. Let's go take a look at one. Data policies. That way that you can't hack your way around it with the browser. System policy rules data policies. Mandatory fields on sys number, no. Let's see if there's something on the incident table. Make close info mandatory when resolved. Here we go. And I'm going to go to global just so I can see this in its full glory rather than the conditions written in encoded query style. I can apply this to import sets so that if somebody is importing something, I want to make sure that really happens. Use as UI policy on client. Your data policies can actually generate the UI policies for you, so you don't have to write two things to say, I want this to happen on the browser, I want this to happen on the server side, I want this to be enforced here and that to be enforced there. You can, or optionally cannot do that. Reverse if false, exactly the same as UI policy. If the condition is true, do these actions. If the condition is false, reverse these actions. And then down below you have close code is mandatory true, close notes, mandatory true. Somewhere they must have added something. It says if it's resolved or closed. Somewhere they must have added something that added in the user piece of that. So always be sure to check your impersonation as well. Data policies, very easy to write, very easy to build, very difficult to hack around. So UI policies are good for guidance. Data policies are good for enforcing that guidance if you need to. You don't have to use data policies. I encourage you to look at them and use them where you can. I encourage you to review your existing UI policies for security reasons and think about, should these really be data policies? I know you've already got a lot of work to do, and this probably isn't at the top of your list, but if you talk to your security people, they probably will say this should be at the top of the list, or one of the things. Okay, that's just something to keep your system secure and keep your data from getting out of whack. What if somebody went directly from open to close and went right around the resolve process because you were using UI policies to generate that, and they went, I'm going around? That would be bad. You're going to find that in an anomaly in a report, and the report is going to take a while to figure out, how did this actually happen? Not that somebody was trying to be nefarious, but they were probably very smart and were in a hurry and said, I don't have time for this, let's just close it. You know, those things come up. Okay, checking out the chat room. It says, trying explore integration capabilities if possible to integrate with IBM event monitoring tool within ServiceNow. Good question for the community. I don't have an immediate answer for you. The generic answer for any integration is, what does IBM event monitoring have to offer? Can you do REST APIs? Is it done real time? Is it done in batch? I expect with an event monitoring system, it's probably going to be real time. Are you looking to do single directional or bidirectional? Is it just IBM's event monitoring passing you information to ServiceNow saying, hey, this switch is overloaded, this server is full. I'm not that familiar with it. So look at the basic requirements of what do you need and what does each end have to offer. ServiceNow is very flexible from an integration standpoint of what it can take and where it can put it. I recommend, you don't have to follow this, but I recommend that you do your imports from third-party systems into an import set table first, using, say, perhaps a REST API. You've got the possibility of injecting records directly into the table. Say, if I'm importing incidents, I could put something in, or an alert, I could put something directly into the alert table, but it's better, you can get more control, you can get more flexibility, you can put more governance around how those events are handled in the system and processed if you put them into an import set table. Import set table is just for staging. I talked about them a little bit yesterday, so I encourage you to go review that video if you haven't already seen that. We had a good discussion about imports and exports, and there's some good diagrams. So in the interest of time and respecting that we all have a lot to do and there's more information to be had, go take a look at that. Ooh, that was fun. Let's go and do something else. I have more notes. So I did cover getters and setters in the service portal. That was actually a tangent of that article. So let's take that, put that in here. Oh, let's do this way. Copy link HTML, put that in the notes because the notes are going to show up in LinkedIn, YouTube, and the community. Wow, that's a big, bold note. Fortunately, it doesn't take over all the formatting. Anything else in the inbox before we move on? There was one reply and I got really sidetracked. Okay. Vinath Kumar has marked this as helpful. Was that the person who asked? I don't think that was the person who asked. No. So you can get a list of names. Don't know where you're going to use it, but have at it. It seemed to be in their example code. It said group name is, and you're going to get an array name back. How helpful is that? I don't know. Group name is service desk, comma, network. They didn't tell me much of the context about how they're using it. They just wanted it again. Provide context. What is the requirement? What are you trying to do? Where is this going to be used? What's the underlying use case is very, very helpful. I may have just given them the wrong script and they go, oh, that's not what I want. Always think, and when you're building out these situations, think about these cases where someone could belong to more than one group, or there could be more than one catalog task attached to the request item. When you have a one-to-many relationship or a many-to-many relationship, expand your requirements to include those. Somebody says, I want the name of the assignment group of Chuck's group in this comment. You know, like they said, the group name is, what if Chuck belongs to 2 groups? What if Chuck belongs to 13 groups? Okay, don't always think it's a one-to-one relationship. Understand what the data model is underneath and take that into account and fire that back at the person who made the requirement. Say, hey, you know what? I don't see this in here, but what if this happens? What do you want to do? And you will provide a much better solution. That, my friends, will get you extra points, get you further in your career, maybe even a little extra money. Who knows? That's my... Don't just take requirements at blind face value. You are doing yourself a disservice. You are doing the person who made those requirements a disservice. You are doing the people who have to maintain this later a disservice. You get more value and you will be respected as an employee if you start asking questions. That's not even ServiceNow related. That's just across being in a technical role, being in a consultant role, being a professional technical person. Is if somebody gives you requirements, think of all the corner cases you can think of. If you can't think of them, bounce them off somebody else, or just say, hey, I will review these requirements and get back to you with my answers in a day, a week, a month, whatever time frame you can afford. Okay, enough of the inbox. Let's go back to the main screen and see what's happening recently on these discussions. See if there's anything we can do. Did I just see the inbox was updated? No. Okay. HR Service Catalog. View messed up. Let's take a look. I can't say what's happening here. Hopefully there's a screenshot. Screenshots are worth 1,000 words, by the way. Here we have I have a service catalog item which has been customized recently on a lot more variables in UI Policy Catalog Client Script. All went well after a lot of changes. However, the end has developed 2 issues. One, the service catalog view is all messed up. However, the portal view is fine. Service catalog is showing a lot of other fields which are hidden. This is going to get in deep. Okay, without understanding what those UI policies and client scripts are, it can get really, really messy. My recommendation, minimalist. Okay, don't make a universal form that works for everything. Use specific forms. And if you've got more than, say, 3 or 4 UI policies and client scripts combined, you could run into issues. Double check the order in which they are running. What you think may be happening first may not be happening first. And if you've got cascading ones that says, well, if I turn this one on, then this field shows up and fills in with this value and turns that field off, it can really start to be a trick to manage them if you've got conflicting requirements saying this one's trying to turn the field on and this one's trying to turn the field off. Blah. Which one takes precedent? That gets really confusing to build, really confusing to maintain. Minimalist. Okay. Onsubmit Client Script to check attachments on Record Producer. Haven't we been through this before? There's probably 1,000 responses, okay, maybe 12 responses to how to check for attachments. I have a Record Producer on a custom table and a custom application which has a checkbox, if checked, need to attach files. So I have been using the below code. It's working, but after attaching on the form, I am getting an alert and unable to submit the form. So attach 1, Always when you're using vars, use the keyword var. 2 and 3. If attach 1 is true and attach 2 is true or attach 3 is true, then checking if any of the attachment checkboxes is ticked. Okay, so they might have, I used a driver's license and here's a picture of my driver's license kind of thing. Or I'm using a liquor license and here's a picture of my liquor license. Or my barber license. So there's 3 checkboxes and they want to make sure there's an attachment. So they go to sys attachment. Glide record queries from inside client scripts give me the heebie-jeebies right off the bat. They don't work exactly like their server-side counterparts. So immediately, what are we trying to do? They're trying to say it's created by guser username, which the username is sys created by. That's my next question. When you look at sys created by on any record, let's pull up the incident record, for example. I thought sys created by was a string. Does gusername give you that string? So let's put this in the list. Created by. Wait, you haven't done the attachment yet. You haven't built the record. If you haven't built the record, then what is the attachment attached to? Because there's a table name and a table sys in there. Well, let's keep going with this theory. Let's see what they're doing. Let's give the created by. I just want to see if this is aligned with what I think it is. This is a string. Pat, employee, admin. Okay, so that's the logged in. Now, does gusername, I'm going to create a real quick client script. Got a few minutes left, so let's see if we can do this. Client scripts, I'll create an onload client script to just echo my username. I suspect it's going to say system administrator, or I could just go to the docs. Let's go to developer and look up guser. The glide user class. First name, last name, user ID. Okay. So the user ID is guser.userid. That's probably what you want to try, even though I don't condone any of this. Much of this is unsupported. Please refer to the bottom below. Check your code is below. Yeah, they're getting table name, table sys ID, but you haven't created the record yet, so I don't know if that's going to work. Okay. In table name, you have to pass the table name you're recording. Yes, cat producer. It's thanks for the response. I have got to work out this service portal, so it's not working in above script. Lots and lots of replies. Here's my take. I'm going to put this in the editor so I can paste that in later. Oh, how I wish I could format this. JavaScript beautifier. Let's just beautify this thing first. I'm not going to spend time. Come on, mouse, run. My mouse is falling off the desk. Beautify. Copy. No, I only want to copy this stuff, not the entire page. Copy that. Put it back in my editor. Yay. I am a Kernighan and Ritchie style curly brace kind of person, but of course, if you put the comment in there, I also found that sometimes putting comments at the end of if statements or while statements screws up your indentation. So this should be user ID according to the documentation. Correct? Is that what I said? Glide system, glide user. Where was my guser page? There it is. User ID, capital ID. Yes. Okay. So let's fix that. Let's also put a var in here, or two. Var. There's a half dozen other things I'd like to do to this script, but I'm not. Copy that. Put this into the code. Box. Paste. Get my OK button. stop. The scrolling's making me seasick. Here's my take. Add var before the gform lines and change the guser dot, what did I say, name before? It's way up here. Username. Username to guser user ID. Sys created by contains the login name, e.g. chuck.tomasi. And I am also going to reference, where was that page? That was a training page. Interesting. Copy link, HTML. Let's also put a helpful reference link for them at the bottom. Reference, paste, done. All right, takes us to the top of the hour. That was a whole lot of fun. That is how we do the community live stream, and I thank you for joining me today. It's been a wonderful hour or so. If you found something helpful in here, don't forget to click that like button so that others can find that information as well. This is the last one I'll be doing for a couple of weeks. I hope you have a wonderful week. I will see you at Now Forum London, perhaps. If you're in London in 2 weeks, check the date on our events page, events.html, servicenow.com/events.html. I'll be in Sydney, I'll be in Melbourne, I'll be in Munich for those developer meetups that I mentioned on the 11th and the 15th. Looking for other opportunities to meet up with you. There's now Summit in DC. There's now Summit in New York. There's a developer meetup in Washington, DC. So lots of opportunities in Q4 that we can meet up, shake hands, say hello. Hope you had a wonderful time. And I will see you again real soon. Stay subscribed to the channel and hang out on the community. Until then, take care. Have a wonderful week. Bye.